Hello, my name's Artemis, and for many of us in this fandom, the most authentic experience of being a furry is getting your own fursuit of your own fursona. And then for some, the more authentic experience is then covering that fursuit in enough bodily fluids that it becomes a walking petri dish of venereal disease. But to each their own. But despite the sheer amount of fursuits in this fandom, there are still those who are fresh to the concept. And while there are plenty of videos out there about fursuits, I thought it would be about time that I collected all of the knowledge and experience I have gained from owning and getting a fursuit and spelled them out for people who might be considering it without really knowing what they're getting themselves into. Let's get started. Okay, let's just get the really obvious shit out of the way. Yes, fursuits get hot. Yes, it's difficult to see. And yes, you can end up getting them stained by having contact with other people. We all know this shit, right? It doesn't really need saying. If you're going to wear something that's made of basically just fur and polyfill like a duvet, then yes, you're going to overheat. If you put a big animal mascot helmet on, then yes, your vision is going to be slightly worse. I'm not going to talk about finding the right fursuit maker that's right for you and all the different types of suit because fuck it. There are a million videos out there that have done it so much better and already done it as well. It doesn't need saying again because it is universal information. Now we're going to talk about the sort of things that you only tend to learn once you actually get that suit. Fursuits are intricately made custom pieces of artwork designed for your specifications, your body, and your character. So yes, they are going to be fucking expensive, okay? And you need to really figure out whether you can justify that expense. If you need to struggle to pay for food just because you want to be a dog, then maybe reevaluate whether you should be buying such a thing. Add to that things like Under Armour, which is essential for keeping the suit as clean as possible, and your heat management and comfort when suiting. Cleaning products, which you're obviously going to need to keep that suit in tip-top best condition, and things like storage and travel cases, and the price just goes up and up and up and up. Everybody thinks they're prepared for these things until they suddenly have to keep buying all of this stuff and realise, oh my god, it was way more than just the commission price. There's also health issues to come into. For instance, if you have mobility or heat issues, then yes, a full digisuit is going to be very difficult for you. And we all know that fursuits are hot, but they are hot to begin with. They get hotter, more restrictive, and less comfortable the more you wear them. And a typical suiting experience at a con could be multiple hours. Okay? Don't think you can just run into that as soon as you get it out of the box. Maybe a partial fursuit is going to be better for you. You can wear different clothes and outfits with it, and it's generally cooler to wear in the sense that they look a little bit cooler, in my opinion sometimes, but also temperature. And I mean, if you do get a bodysuit, then you do run into the unfortunate issue that you need to maintain your weight and body shape. If you get one when you're 18 and you're still growing, well, that bodysuit isn't always going to last. And hell, if you eat a few too many burgers, you might not be doing that zip up. And then there's the issue of traveling the goddamn thing. Fursuits don't exactly fold down all that small. I mean, they can if you know how, but sometimes they're too fragile for that. So you're going to want something to protect your investment in this character. A very big, strong, sturdy travel case, which is going to be a complete pain in the ass to travel with, especially on public transport. These things are not cheap either, so you've got to invest in that, and you want to make sure it's something that's going to last, because if you're going to be spending this money, and hell, it's going to protect your suit potentially when you're fucking flying with it, then you're going to want to pour the extra effort into finding the right one. And speaking of flying, you've got all the stresses of that. What happens if potentially your suit gets lost? Are you ready for that level of stress when you're on an 8-hour flight? Then hell, when you get to the other end, you've got Mr. Angry TSA man picking up bits of your suit without you being able to really tell him what to do, going, what the fuck is this, Chuck? Are you going to be ready to try and salvage that situation? Can you deal with that level of embarrassment? I mean, fuck, I have. I do think that everybody gets very tied up in the fantasy of being their character and going out to cons and, you know, getting that attention sometimes, that they tend to forget exactly what it is they're getting themselves into, and they don't really want to see some of the perhaps less fantastical sides of having a fursuit and suiting. And that gets even harder to deal with when things start to fall apart. Fursuits, as with all things in life, have a determined lifespan, and that's just inescapable. They will eventually wear out with general wear and tear and need fixing or even replacing. And that's a very hard thing for us to consider for something that we spent so much money and time on, and it also is quite close to us. High impact areas like hand paws are going to be the first to go. I mean, the amount of contact these paws are going to have with things and people and surfaces means that you are going to develop burst seams and bald spots. It's not a matter of poor craftsmanship, it's just the life of a fursuit. So yeah, don't bitch and moan at your maker because you decided to give everybody at the con a high five and then it wore down your fucking hand paw padding. Indoor feet paws are 1,000,000% cute, fluffy, adorable, wonderful things. They are basically big, plush slippers that you get to wear around whilst you're suiting, and I 1000% support that entire concept. But right off the bat, the name suggests that you can't be wearing these outside and they're not really designed for super heavy use. Here's some facts for you. With each footstep, we are actually exerting 1.5 times our body weight onto that foot as we lay it on the ground. Take into consideration that the average suiting walk around at a furry convention could be thousands of footsteps, and let's say you weigh, I don't know, 20 stone, because some fursuiters, like me, used to weigh that much. You're going to be exerting nearly 30 stones of pressure, a couple of thousand times on each foot paw as you go around. And then there's also things like friction and stains and shit on the floor. Now, do you really think that fur and vinyl are made to withstand that level of pressure over and over again without ever wearing out? Even simple things like the sun can take its toll on fur. It will bleach and degrade the colour. Airbrushing could end up running out. It could just fade away. It happens. It's just what happens. And nobody wants to think of this when they're dumping several £1,000s on this wonderful suit. Now, it does all sound doom and gloom, and I don't mean it to sound like that. I mean, I just want it to sound realistic. There are things you can do to help prevent that, like being very gentle with your brushing, because obviously hair fibers are not going to regrow, so you want to be very gentle. Washing your suit properly. If you've developed bald spots, you can even fix that, as I have done before with spare strands of fur and felting needles. There's always workarounds. If a paw pad ends up breaking, damaging, getting ripped, you can just cut that out and sew in a new one. There's always ways that you can keep your fursuits living just that little bit longer. Even if it means adding things to your suiting experience, like fursuit sandals, that will help, or, you know, wearing better underarmors so that you're not just dumping all your sweat into the fur, and washing your fursuit properly. I mean, a lot of people are very scared to do it, and I don't blame you. It's terrifying to get your entire bodysuit into a bath, I imagine, and submerge it and have to wash it. I'm very lucky. A lot of my suit parts are machine washable, so I just chuck them in on a very low temperature, because heat is not your friend. Chuck them in the dryer with no heat, and, well, we're done. But of course, you need to determine whether your suit can do that when you're commissioning it. If you get one that is all airbrushed, well, that's going to be incredibly difficult to clean. If you're getting a big, full digi suit with all the padding built in, then how are you going to dry that? How are you even going to hang it up to dry without the seams getting stretched apart? Are you considering this, or are you just thinking about how it looks? It really is a wake-up call when you finally get this amazing suit and you've suited around for ages, gotten hugs, taken loads of pictures for the first time, and it's wonderful, and then you get back to the lounge and you have to peel it off piece by sweaty piece and realise, oh my god, I have drenched this fucking thing. Then you got to put it in a case where it's going to sit for several hours whilst you travel home, and then you got to try and figure out how to fucking wash it and how to dry it properly, and you're terrified putting it in the washer in case it comes out completely destroyed. You're terrified to dry it and brush it in case you break it for good. It is a really scary thing to do for the first time, but I mean, hell, there's plenty of tutorials and whatnot out there to help you, and your maker will also help you when it comes to cleaning. It is incredibly important when you get that suit to be ready for the mortality of it. Like, yeah, it's really heartbreaking when you notice the first bald spots or you have to replace a seam, but that is the life of getting a fursuit, and you need to know that going in to make the whole thing just more enjoyable. This is perhaps something that comes very naturally for some people, and for others is something they really struggle with. I have seen people being completely put off the idea of getting a suit because they are faced with the question, what would I even do with it? Now, it's easy for a lot of people to get a suit and just decide that they're going to do stuff with it. They're going to go to charity events, they're going to bounce around at conventions, they're going to take cutesy photographs, or they might even just fuck in it. But either way, they have a determined purpose that makes it worthwhile for them to get this thing. But then there's also those who get a suit because they want a suit, because they just want to fit in, because they feel like they should have one, and then they get it and don't know what to do. And it is sad. You see them at conventions, they're sort of stood around awkwardly, unsure of what to do. They don't really know how to pose, and in the end they sort of start aping everybody else, and they do the same mannerisms, they do the same actions. They don't really use a voice because that's risky, and hell, sometimes they just flat out rip off telephone. I mean, it's really easy to just want to be cute and fluffy and cuddly, but how long is that going to last? Are you going to really have the motivation to keep this up and keep paying out the cost for travel and getting to a con to then just suit up and not feel like you're really doing much? Why is it you specifically want to have a fursuit? Is it because you feel like you want to do something with it, you want to be creative, or is it just because you feel like you should have one? Obviously, if you're doing something like YouTube or TikTok, or you're taking photos, and you could end up suiting up maybe 3 times a goddamn week. But what if your fur meet is only monthly, and then it rains some months so that you can't suit up at all then? What if you only get to make it to 1 con a year and that's your only time suiting? Do you really want to go out of your way to spend so much money on this suit, which ultimately is just going to be hung up in your room with you wishing you could wear it more? It's kind of harsh reality no one really wants to think of when they get excited about commissioning a fursuit. And I honestly think it's one of the first questions you should ask yourself when you are ready to invest this amount of money. I'm not saying that everybody who gets a suit has to do something super productive with it. I am not telling anybody what they should do with their suit. But I have seen plenty of people invest a lot of money and be very regretful that they did that because they didn't do the thinking first. And I would like to do something to help other people not follow down that path, because it's expensive. So these are some of the things that I came to find after getting a fursuit, and it is not something that I considered before getting one. It is all stuff that I sort of had hit me in the face like a fucking truck. So I thought I would be kind and share that experience. Hopefully you got something out of it, and if you are considering getting a fursuit, I hope it's made you a bit more sure of your decision. I don't want to scare people off doing it. I just want them to be really confirmed in what they're going to be getting and really happy with that decision, having thought everything through. That would be quite nice, that you go into it with a bit of extra knowledge, knowing exactly the reality you're getting into, rather than being disappointed when the inevitable happens and nature takes its course and, oh god, look, it's running out. So there you go. Hope you have a good day. I'm going to end this video now. Yep, never know how to end these fucking things, so hope you enjoyed. Bye.